Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Creative Mind podcast. I'm your host, Byron Craig, and today you are in for an international treat. Today I am joined by international gospel singer-songwriter. She has the voice of an angel. She has crazy testimonies. I mean, out of this world. Something just literally happened last night with her and some luggage. You can't make it up. But I promise you, this is going to be such an inspirational time and an inspirational podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome my sister, Michelle Benedek.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, anytime. I'm so honored. Thanks for having me.
I mean, when I think of creativity and a creative person, you would be on like one of the top people that I actually think of, because to me, my oldest daughter, you know her, Peyton.
Yeah.
She always is like, one, where's Miss Michelle? But two, she's always like, the first time we heard you sing, she literally was like, oh my God, she has the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. I was like,
that's so sweet. They're the sweetest. That is so kind. Thank you.
Yeah. I can't disagree. I'd say I don't know who I was telling somebody, I was like, your voice to me sounds like a mix of Joss Stone mixed with like Macy Gray, mixed with like Anna Wise, if you know who that is. Like a little bit of Amy Winehouse in there. Like, you know, like again, that's just me.
Oh my gosh, I'm honored. I love Joss Stone's the texture and tone of her voice is incredible. So
she's amazing.
I mean, I'm honored that you would compare me in that group of people. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, like, let's just like dive deep. Like, who is Michelle?
Yes.
Who is Michelle?
Who is Michelle? Well, I feel like I guess a lot of things, a lot of titles, right? I'm a daughter. I am a sister. I got two sisters, friend, obviously a gospel artist, worship leader. A little known fact, I actually am also a business consultant. So that's a little sidebar fun fact. So a lot of my travels and stuff will take me places for that as well. So business consultant and just a little mixture of everything, I guess, all the things.
I love it.
Yeah.
But like business consulting, like doesn't seem very fun. But I mean, you travel a lot.
Well, I love travel. I think for me, I find business consulting fun in the aspect of I just love helping people. So it kind of scratches that itch for me. And I really have like, I guess, a builder's mind. Like I love putting together processes, systems, like just all the things in building. So it actually is kind of nice for that, I guess. So I find it very rewarding, and I meet lots of cool people. I mean, yeah, it's great.
Of course. I mean, who can beat travel, meeting and helping people? That's key.
Yeah.
So like, how did you discover, let's talk about creativity. How did you discover your creative journey? Like I know that you play the piano a little bit, little guitar, like, where did like all that start?
You know what? I've always loved music since I was like little kid. Like, gosh, I don't remember a life without music. I trace it back though to, I'd probably have to say my dad is the one who kind of instigated or gave me the baton to run with it maybe. So like when I was, maybe 5 years old, I could be a little off on the year. 5 or 6, my dad bought me my first karaoke machine. This thing was legit. Like it was massive, like huge. And it had like multiple microphones. And I would literally like force my sisters to do concerts and stuff. So, and I would like go the extra mile. I'd be like, all right, guys, everyone's got to go to their separate places and you're going to write a song and we're going to come back and perform. I was making people write songs. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, you don't get to do a cover. We're doing originals here.
Love it.
so yeah, like I just grew up with music. My parents are not super musical. My mom can sing. My dad cannot sing at all. Love you, Dad. Shout out to you. Bye. He like, my mom is probably where I actually got my voice from. But what I'll say is like, I was really blessed to grow up in a home that they encouraged the gift of God in me and whatever that looked like. And so as I grew up, they were really gracious. Like as I started kind of getting into different things, they always supported me, always encouraged me. So it started super young. Yeah, super young.
I love that. I love a good parent combination who just like literally just is like one, especially the ones who can sing and can't sing. Cause I mean, that's true love to like hear somebody who can't sing, like sing next to you in church. Like that's the whole thing. But I really do love that, that they actually foster that.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like today, not a lot of parents do that. It's either like, how can I make my kid be the like next LeBron James? Or whatever.
Right.
It's like your failure in life is like you're trying to make your kid do that so you can be like, yes, I made it. Yes. Versus like just saying, hey, like you can go draw or be an artist or sing or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that too. They've been really good at that. So I love them. Shout out to them.
Are you the oldest of your sisters?
No.
And they were taking instructions from you like, hey, go right. And you're like,
I'm the middle child. I mean, me and my older sister kind of like built in besties because we're so close, but I'm also so close to my younger sister. But it was, I don't know, like thinking back, and I actually wish I had a VHS player because I do have home videos somewhere of one of these nights. Like we filmed it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would love to see that because that just, she's like, go to your room, write. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to write though.
I'm pretty sure too, I gave them like 10 minutes or something. And I'm like, now having context of like doing this for a living, I'm like, who writes a song in 10 minutes?
I don't know, but you had high expectation. The bar was set so high.
I was stage mom and artist, you know, I was both.
I love it. I am all for it. It's like, hey, you go. Your lyrics are off. That don't, Sam, no, don't no. It don't rhyme. We need rhyming lyrics. It's gotta flow. That's so funny.
Yeah, it's the best.
And so like after that, like, did you like grow up singing in church or?
Yeah, so in the 5th grade, this is like a cool story I like telling people. So in the 5th grade, I always loved singing, but like, I think what really gave me the purpose of taking that gift and knowing where to point it. In the 5th grade, I was in church and they were bringing, to my church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Freeman Bible Church, they were bringing, people from Hillsong. So they brought the OG. If anyone's like an OG Hillsong person, like Darlene Check is like the OG worship leader. So wrote Shout to the Lord. I mean, she's literally like, best of the best. So they were bringing her in with the whole team. And then Bobby and Brian Houston were coming in to be a part and speak. Like it was a really big worship night they were planning. At the time, 5th grade Michelle like did not know who these people were. Like I was just like, these people have cool accents like that. I love that. I quite genuinely did not understand the gravity of like just how amazing these people were and just the impact that they've made. And so that night they were like, we're picking a 5th grade guy and girl to meet Darlene and the team and everybody. And I randomly get picked. I don't even know the criteria because I'm like, I didn't do anything. So I don't know why you guys picked me.
There was no randomness to it. Like
maybe they heard about the at-home like concerts or something. But so they picked me to meet them, and I went backstage. And long story short, Darlene ended up praying for me and even just like prophetically speaking some stuff over me about the call of God in my life. And it was such a life-altering moment for me because from that time on, it was just like naturally there was so much direction to the gift God had given me when it came to singing. So I started leading worship in the youth at 13, 14.
Wow.
And then we had a worship band when we were in like the high school area. We were like actually writing songs and doing albums. And so it just kind of like progressed from there. So yeah, I literally grew up steeped in that. Yes.
I love that. That's pretty amazing. I mean, Darlene Zschech, like her,
the OG,
the OGest of OGs, like
who writes "Shout to the Lord." Ugh.
I mean, that's not shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Dude,
Power and majesty.
Praise to the King. I can't sing for a lick. I'm not even gonna ever try to sing.
She's the best.
She is. I was told I was gonna try and sing the lyrics, but I don't want to hurt people's ears. I was told by my old MD. He was like, "Bruh, never sing. Just never do it."
I guess we appreciate honesty. Sure.
And he was like, "You can play the bass, like do that." I was like, "Thanks." He's like, just don't sing loud." I was like, "Oh, okay." Perfect. I don't care. No, I don't care. The Lord hears, and it's pleasant to Him. That's all that matters. Worship. It is.
I love that.
It's all that matters. So after you get picked and you're leading worship, like, do you continue to do that in school? Like, how did that journey progress to kind of like being on the stage and on the level of where you are now?
Oh, that's a good question. It's funny because I'm like consultant strategy brain for other people. So I can strategize you into something all day. I am not good at that for myself. So like there was never a strategy of like trying to get to something. I just knew like, I really, really, really am passionate about this. Like, this is the thing I wake up and like think about and want to do. And I also think, it's important to say like, it's the thing I would do if there were $1 tied to it or not, which I think is how you locate what your passion is. So for me, like I didn't strategize getting there. I think like God helped connect me to the right people. And I tried to be also, I think I always try to be really discerning and wise about relationships and what those relationships are for. Cause, obviously people are who's going to open doors for you in places. So I think just knowing like, what's this person's purpose in my life? And is there a door that they're opening for me? But also just being, I think, prepared has helped me a lot. Like, this is going to sound so dumb. I would literally stand in front of the mirror, practice like saying, exhorting or saying stuff. I would practice a lot, like on my own. I think just the preparation of being ready for moments when they come. Because the worst is you have an opportunity present itself and you're not ready for it. And then you fumble it. Yeah. And now you're like, well, so I don't know that I have a great answer on a strategy of how it's got there. I think it's just been a mixture of preparation plus like opportunities from the Lord and being ready for what He has. Yeah.
I mean, hey, no strategy is good. I mean, that means you just kind of let go, hand off the wheel, just go. Hey, Lord, you drive the car. Yeah.
I'm getting better at, there's some strategy now, right? Because I do think, for me, because the music is not considered mainstream, right? Because it's gospel music and it's music that's like, like it's for God, right? So sure. I've struggled with the tension of, sharing a lot about it on social media or not. Cause I think for me, I don't know where that came from, but I think for me, I've always been like, if I push it on social media, does it make it less authentic or valuable or like, does it change the motive? Because I don't want the motive to get mixed. So I've been really, struggling in that tension of what's too much, what's not enough. Like, do I use this? How do I use this as a tool in partnership with God? So like, I do think, as much as I've not had strategy, I actually think it's important to have strategy.
Of course.
And use like the tools that God's given us. And I need to definitely do a better job of that. But yeah, that's like, strategy is definitely important. I think it's just finding that balance. But I think preparation is huge for anyone that's like trying to get to anywhere in life. Preparation is huge.
Of course. One thing I've been really trying to focus on lately is just holding tension between the two things. I find that really interesting that you have this tension of you feeling like you don't want to talk about it. I mean, you're like insanely talented. Like, and I mean, obviously you've had really big, massive opportunities with some of the biggest recording artists in the world. But I just find that really fascinating that you struggle for yourself to hold the tension between like talking about it and like, I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I think, gosh, I'm trying to get better at, I do think that it's important to be able to share about what God's given you confidently. So 100% that. But I just think it's something I've had to really work on, because I just never wanted people to get a mixed message of like, the whole point I am passionate about the music that I share is because like ultimately at the end of the day, I want to connect people to God, because that's what it's done for me. It's connected me to God in a different way. And so I think because that's the motive, I never want people to think it's the Michelle show, because it's not. Like, I can't really do I can't do much for people. Like, anything good in my life is because of God. So it's like, I definitely want to make sure the motives stay pure. I think that's the tension of it and why I probably struggle. But I think I'm gaining more clarity on what that looks like this year, which is really exciting. So I think I'm finally understanding a good balance between that. So yeah.
Does that mean this year we get like new music, like originals?
Guys, I mean, like, I don't want to promise anything, but I'm so excited about this year. This is the most excited I've been in, I cannot tell you the last time I've been missing. I should clarify. This is the most excited I've been about what God is doing in and through my life in the longest time. Like, I am so excited about this year. I can't say much on the other stuff, but we've announced my first ever worship night event that I'm hosting. I've never hosted a worship night, never done an event under my ministry or anything. So the first one we just announced for April 11th. And I'm just like so excited about what this year means.
Yeah.
So like, there might be some music coming.
Okay. Maybe, no promises, but like, I mean, and I saw your worship night already sold out.
Yes. I don't know when this podcast is going to go live. I've been working this week we will be releasing more tickets. So I'll be announcing that soon, but I had to just check capacities and all of that. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still,
I mean, it was free. It was free. So like, it's like, I hate to say sold out. Like, the tickets were not
okay.
hundreds of dollars. This is not an Usher show, but like.
But it could be. I mean, we could always collect tithes and offerings. You know, we can always bless our minstrels. Bless our minstrels. But
yes, I'm excited.
But I mean, as far as sold out, I mean, like, I was talking more like capacity wise. Like,
yeah,
you like literally said this many people can come, and within like, I don't know, 2-3 days, gone.
Guys, I thought nobody was gonna get a ticket. I'm gonna be honest.
Really?
I posted it and I was like, I don't know, like maybe just my circle of friends. And what's funny is a lot of my circle of friends are out of town for it. So I was like, oh no. So maybe it's only gonna be a few tickets, but it was like less than 48 hours. And I went on the website and I was like, wait, because people were like, I couldn't get one. I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't get one? It's just,
I couldn't get one. I was like, yeah, I tried. Somebody sent me, I saw it. Then I was like, yeah, you know how your brain is like, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll circle back to that. I just didn't circle back. And then someone texted it to me. I was like, bet. And then I looked at it and I was like, sold out. What? How?
Oh my
it's
gosh.
free.
No,
Like,
bro, I got you. Don't worry. If you want to come, you can come.
Yes, I definitely want to come for sure. April 11th. This episode will come out. It'll come out before April 11th. So
yeah, April 11th. I'm excited.
In Cedar Hill.
In Cedar Hill at my church that I've been attending, my home church. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great time.
I love it. I love it. So when it comes to more of your just creative journey, like songwriting, I had, I don't know if you listen to country music or not. Stevie Woodward is her name. Okay. She's in a band called Runaway June. And we were talking about the vulnerability in songwriting. She told it to me obviously she does country music, so it's different. She told me the perspective of how she utilizes her relationship with her now fiance and stuff. And, obviously it's a trio, so it's other people contributing as well. I was kind of more curious. How is that songwriting process for gospel singing? Because you're not like writing about a person or I mean, you can write about an experience, but it's more like in worship and adoration and praise to the Lord versus my dog just got hit by a Dodge Ram truck and now I'm real sad about it.
God, that's terrible. I hope that didn't really happen to her.
It didn't. That's just my equivalent of like what country music sounds to me. It's like, I left my dog and it got hit. I mean. Guys,
he means no offense to the country music industry at all when he says that.
None. I really do like Chris Stapleton. Like, I listen to everything. I listen to everything. Chris Stapleton is like the only country music I'll listen to. But besides that, I love country music because, Stevie was on the podcast, so I love Runaway June.
Yeah. I think like songwriting, even in gospel, like you're still talking about a person, right? Like you're talking about the person of Jesus, or like Holy Spirit, right? Like, I think for me, I view it that way because for me, it's like, it's a relationship. Like if people ask me, are you religious? Like, oh, you're religious. No, I actually am not at all. It's purely relationship. So like when we get off this podcast, I talk to God like he's literally a person standing in the room with me. So it just feels like that. So I think that does influence the writing aspect because I view it so much as a relationship. Like it does feel like a person. And so I'm still able to write about experience or the person. Obviously some of the messaging shifts because it's God. It's not like a human that I'm like having all of the lovey-dovey feelings for. But, I think like that influences songwriting. For me, if you're asking like songwriting process, I think it looks different depending on the day or the moment, because sometimes like, and songwriters will get this, like sometimes you're in the middle of the most random thing and inspiration hits you and like you hear a melody line or you hear lyrics and you're like, oh my God, I got to write that down, or you grab your phone and you record it on a voice note. So sometimes that happens. There's terminology for it. I don't know if you want me to go into that, but like, I'm actually talking about this in a class on Saturday. It's called like knobby flow when you think about prophetic flow. So that knobby flow means like to bubble up. So that's like when inspiration hits you, it just like happens. You're like, oh my gosh, got to capture this.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's also like the work of songwriting is a muscle. So you can literally sit down and like work the gift and work the muscle and create something. And that's how people are able to do songwriting sessions, songwriting camps, all the things. And they come away with really good stuff because you schedule that intentional time to sit down and do it. So there's those elements of writing. I think people have different strong suits too. So some people, when it comes to writing, they're really strong with lyrical content, but maybe not as strong with melodies. And then like vice versa. So for me, I'm like really strong with coming up with melodies and hearing melodies and like coming up with simple hooks and stuff like that. So like the catchy part of the song that you're going to sing for the chorus or the bridge, but like a verse, Lord Jesus. I'm like, good God. I hate writing a verse. I absolutely loathe it. Because like the verse is supposed to be more, I guess it's like feels more storytelling to me. It's not as simple as a hook. So it's also really easy for verses to feel cheesy, I don't know, or cliche, or like you just take words, things that have already been said. So I don't know. I'm just not very great at them because I haven't worked the muscle a lot. And so I just need to bite the bullet and get better at it. But yeah, that's
that
for
part.
me, songwriting. And then I think too, like for gospel, if I'm by myself, I'm not in a songwriting session, I'll either sit at the piano or the guitar, or sometimes I put on like an instrumental track and just like vibe out, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting. Like in like something like just like piano instrumental by itself, or
there is a guy on YouTube. Gosh, if you type in on YouTube soaking worship, it's like the main guy on there. I can't remember the name, but he has like tons and tons of videos that are like anywhere between an hour to 3 hours. There's some that are 8 hours.
Wow.
And I used to sleep to them because I just felt like I slept better with them. But now I like will also use them just to like make my home feel peaceful or like to write all the things. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. So I like listening to jazz when cooking. There's something about that, but
that's top tier.
Oh, it's a must,
top
right?
Tier. Yeah.
Like there's just someone recently is trying to get me into buying vinyl, and I just can't.
Yeah.
Just purely for the fact that I know that I'll just go ham.
Yeah.
And spend way too much money on it, and I don't want to do that. I already have too many things that take up all my money. They're called children. Right. But that part. Don't teenagers, Jesus. Oh, I can't wait till they move out. Only a few more years.
Guys, just if kidding. You hear him, he still loves you.
I do love them very much. They just cost a lot. And
I get that.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. The Lord has blessed me with the ability to provide for them. Back to creativity. So do you find yourself in a lot of mixed songwriting rooms, or do you find yourself just more it just being you and yourself? And I mean, I guess for that process, even for your own individual music, is it more just you on your own, just kind of sitting, writing, doing the soaking worship? Or is it just like mixing, writing, like with like somebody like Nick?
Mm-hmm. I would say a little bit of both. I will say I've been in a season prior to right now where I was not writing for a very long time. I was not writing for quite a while, maybe like a year and a half. So now getting back into it, I think just because of how much I travel, a lot of times it ends up just being me because of scheduling. But also like I love utilizing stuff like putting it in a memo and collaborating with people so that like, let's say Nick, he can see the note and he could hear maybe a voice memo I put in there, and we can write in that way too. Even though we're not in the same room. My music director, Will Davis, shout out to
Will
him.
Dill.
The best of the best ever to ever do it.
Absolutely. Love Will.
So yeah, we will do that same thing. And Will's like a songwriter in and of himself as well. So he's also a producer. So he's helping just craft a lot of that stuff too. But if we're not in a room, I think there's ways to collaborate virtually too, which is really awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Will Davis.
Shout out to Will Davis.
Connecticut's finest.
Waterbury. Love it.
He's I think the only person I've ever met who's actually from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah. very rare.
Yeah.
They don't make the Texas or like in New York. That's different, but like he's from Connecticut. He's from like Woodbury. It's like
exactly
weird, crazy. But he's a genius though. That man is
he is a genius. He is a genius. I feel super lucky to know him.
I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to ever meet him and just spend time talking to him. Dude is great. Yeah. So like, I mean, what other types of creativity things do you find it's helpful in the moment of like writing or in the moment of just worshiping? Because I always tell people on this podcast, you never know how your story was going to impact someone else's journey. So like, as far as like talking with other people out there, like I know that there's been people who have reached out and talked to me about like they're in a season of it's hard for them to write, or it's hard for them to just find the ins and outs of like finding the right people to connect with. And like, they're like, oh, it's just a waste of my time. And like, all that stuff. Like, what would you say to someone who's like kind of like at their, I guess, wits end almost of like not being seen or not being heard or not being understood as far as music is concerned?
I think that usually when you're in a season where you're not being acknowledged, right? Or like you feel like you haven't had that break yet. Usually I feel like, whether you believe in God or not, it's intentional of God to be in that season because, ultimately a season of any type of hiddenness allows you time for preparation, like I mentioned earlier, which is critical. If you don't prepare for a season of being on the mountaintop and like having the platforms and having the opportunities, if you don't prepare when it's preparation time, those moments will actually crush you. So it's like actually the grace of God that we have time to be hidden and not have that pull and demand and notoriety, if you would. So I do think that a lot of times it's just a perspective shift of like, hey, I'm in this season for a reason and what are the ways I need to be preparing and locating that? Because there's a million practical ways that we can prepare for any and all the things, right? When it comes down to, like even for the person that's in that season, it's more than just practicing the instrument, getting the songwriting ready, making sure your voice is in top condition and all of those things. It's also making sure, what about, have you ever spent time with someone getting media training, right? So that, if I want to prepare, if I feel like I'm going to be one of the greatest or somebody that's going to have that type of a platform, I need to prepare in all aspects. So like, I need to know what to say when people are interviewing me, or I need to know, just how to act in front of a camera, or how to, like, you have to be prepared for that type of stuff. So media training, do I know how to dress for my body type where I'm presenting myself well? I'm not saying you have to always be on like looking super polished and all the things, because I think it's important to be authentic, but just making sure like you are representing yourself and your brand well. I think there's just so many elements to preparation people forget about. And so it's really good to have those seasons. Now, I also think there's an element of, it can also be like you were saying, maybe somebody's kind of given up in actually taking the steps to make stuff happen, because realistically, you're not going to be sitting in your house and then all of a sudden, like, you can't sit in your house, do nothing and expect a door to open. That's not how it works.
True.
So I think also just asking yourself like, okay, am I doing my part? God will always do his part, but like, am I doing my part to make it happen? Because it's both of them together. It's us partnering with God, like doing the work. God can't bless anything we're not doing. So it's like, actually putting action to it. Whether that's, for me, it was picking back up songwriting, because I can't expect God to bless a song or like give me a song that's for the nations if I'm not actually writing. That's really crazy, right?
Yeah.
I can't expect God to connect me with the right people if I stay in my house and quite literally never speak to people. Like, so it's, I have done more networking the last, like, the last 3-4 months. It's been life-changing because I've met some of the most amazing people that are now able to help me with stuff. But it took me getting out of my house, like to go meet people, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's discerning the season that you're in for sure. And like using the preparation time, but also still doing your part, doing what you can do and not giving up. You never know what the thing is. This is a great example. It's not musical, but it's a great example of this. You never know what's going to pop off or be the thing. So like the other night, I posted that first video, I think it was a few nights ago, where I was just in my hotel room talking about, I think I was just talking about being at capacity. I just was sharing. I posted that at the worst possible hours, guys. Like, my social media insights told me no one was going to see it. Okay. And I posted what I was like, no trending audio on it at all. I looked at it today and it has like 12,000 views in the last 2 days. And I'm like, huh? How? And it has one of the most amount of shares of any of my content. And so all that to say, you just never know what the thing is going to be. So if you give up before that moment, then you'll never see it. But I think it's just continuing to encourage yourself and like, eventually God will open the right doors. Something will happen.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Social media algorithm stuff, your post on that was meant to be shared with everybody because being at capacity, it's a real struggle for even people who are not Christian and don't believe that there's such thing as capacity. Yeah, you can be at capacity. You can be full and just keep
100%.
running on empty. It's terrible. That's why we have to rest. Rest is biblical. Like it's a thing.
100%.
What would you say to the person who is kind of like what you're saying in your example about wanting to network and they just don't know how to? I mean, obviously there's small markets. I love you, America, but small markets like Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're in the middle of the cornfields and you're just like, where do I go? How do I meet somebody? Obviously going down to, you know, you're not going to go down to, I don't know, a hotel and you're like, oh my God, there's Jonathan McReynolds there.
Right.
Randomly, you know?
Right. I think it's a great question. I think that number one, we talked about social media already. It is one of the most powerful tools and it's how people connect. That's it's not unnormal now or weird to connect with someone on social media that you've never met before. True. So, and in fact, a lot of people that are top of their industry leverage social media to find new talent, new people all the time. Timbaland is a great example of that. I don't know if you're familiar with Timbaland, but he's who's not? The man is a goat.
So many hits.
We love the man, but
dude, we love Beat Club.
Yes, he literally gets on live. I don't know how often now. I know it's at least once a week, but he literally leverages social media to find new talent. Yeah. He talks about putting them on his bench. Like he's literally listening to their songs and networking with these people and now working with them. Right. So the best of the best in the industries use it and as a tool. And so I think it's important not to forsake it, to have a strategy, to make sure that you're representing your brand well. If you're somebody that wants to be in the public eye in any way, whether that's you want to be a gospel artist or you want to be in mainstream music or any type of creative platform, you need to make sure that you're leveraging social media. You need to make sure that you're leveraging things like AI. Like those are things that if you're not acquainted with them, you need to have together. It's like, really just in this day and age, it's like the bare minimum for a point of entry when it comes to that. So I think it's really important because before someone ever meets you, they're going to check out your digital presence. People do that even in normal workforce. You can apply for a 9 to 5 office job and they are going to look at your social media before they decide to hire you. So why would someone in a creative field not look at the biggest creative platforms? Right? So like,
this is true.
It's making sure that that is on 10. Now, here's the other thing I will say. People might not like this, but I am also a full believer in sowing a seed into yourself. And what do I mean by that? There have been times that I have saved, taken money out of savings and paid for a flight and a hotel to spend 2-3 days in a city that I knew, like Nashville's a great example. I did that for Nashville. I've never been to Nashville, but I know if I'm a singer and a songwriter and I've never been to Nashville, what's wrong with me? Like, it's one of the main places. And so I know that times are like, not everyone just has a ton of extra cash. I know I don't. So it's one of those things that maybe you have to plan and save for, but it's one of the things that could change your life. If you strategically plan out, let's go with the Nashville example, 2 to 3 days in Nashville. And ahead of time, I'm connecting with other songwriters and people in Nashville on social media. I maybe schedule a couple coffee dates or whatever. Like, you can make the most of 2 to 3 days, and that seed that you're sowing into yourself could change your life.
Ooh, that's good. That's really, really, really good insights.
Yeah.
I'd never thought of it like that. You could do the same if doesn't have to be musically related. You could do that the same in business. Also, just for reference, 100%. I saw all of Business Consultant Michelle coming out like right there. You're like, no, we're gonna do this.
We're leverage
AI? You're using you used all the business terms. We're gonna leverage AI.
Yeah,
we're leveraging. Like, okay, cool. All right, cool. I see why she big boss lady. I see. I see why.
It's, you know what though? Like, thank God, because that mechanism, although it works as consultant in that job, like that mechanism works in any field.
Oh, of
course.
Course.
And you just have to be able to see the bigger picture. And like, I think to your earlier question, that is part of strategy. Like, that's part of strategizing. Do I have a few $100s to like invest in myself and make the dream happen, or network with people? Like, you have to view that as an investment.
Yeah.
But I also think with networking with people, what I will caution people on, and this is, I'm putting on business consultant hat a little bit here because, I obviously in business, you network a ton. I will say that people can feel when you're networking with them for an opportunity. So I think it's important to go into networking with the sole focus is, I just want to get to know someone and connect with them and not necessarily try to get something from them. Cause I think that this is going to sound weird. I'm going to explain it. People are like bank accounts, right? So like if I was going to go make a withdrawal from my checking account right now, I would have had to make deposits. Well, a withdrawal in relationships would be like asking for a favor, having a tough conversation, getting in an argument, any of those things, right?
Sure.
Making deposits is, of course, like anything that's just giving back into you. It's me checking on you, asking how you are. It's my tone of voice. It's all of the relational things. So before I make a withdrawal and ask for connection, an opportunity, a door, any of the things, I have to have made deposits. So I think like anyone that's listening that's going to tap into the networking thing, I think just approaching it from that standpoint of connecting and being intentional about depositing into people and asking yourself, what can I do to serve other people? Because then you're going to have leverage to essentially ask for that same thing. Or for people who are listening who are Christians, it's essentially sowing seed that comes back to you, right? So yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. I saw on someone's Instagram when I was early morning scrolling because I couldn't sleep, that instead of asking a busy person, because busy people don't have time to just stop what they're doing and then go like entertain you. Like instead of saying, hey, can I get an hour? Like just say, hey, can we do 15? And you make it a quality 15. Like You come in prepared. You have your like questions. You're like, hey, I got 3 main questions. If you could help me answer and decipher these 3 things, it would help me push me to the next, little pedestal where I can get to going and work on these things. And so like to their point was, hey, I'm a busy person who's like really successful. They are busy. So if you have the opportunity to get in their DM and they actually reply, don't just try and entertain like, oh, let's be friends. No. Let's be intentional with what we're doing.
100%.
Ask your pointed questions. And maybe if you've established that rapport, then there can maybe be a friendship later on. But
100%.
If you get in Timbaland's DMs, don't be lollygagging like, oh my God, I loved you. I loved everything you've ever done.
Yes.
I loved all like, no. Like, thank you for replying. I appreciate you.
100%.
Hey, I got 3 beats. Can you critique them for me? Here's 15-second samples. And then if he likes it, then obviously he's going to ask
100%.
So,
and I think discerning too, like you had even just said, like, could be friends later on. And I love that. But I also think like people need to know, how do I want to approach them? Right. So for me, if I'm approaching Timbaland, well, I don't care if we're friends, sir. I'm approaching you because I'm approaching you from a colleague standpoint, right?
Of course.
So my whole tone of conversation is going to sound different when it comes to that. And like you're saying, if I approach him sounding like a fan, it automatically discredits me. I think this is a great place for people to utilize. If you feel uncomfortable or you're just starting out with this and you need help, utilize Chat GPT, guys. I'm not kidding you. Like literally you can input, let's say you can't think of 3 great solid questions to ask it for a meeting. Let's say you have a 15-minute meeting set up with Timbaland. I would literally go into Chat GPT and say, what are 3 quality, impactful questions that I can ask a top producer as someone who wants to work with him? Or ask and get some insight on that so you come prepared with something deeper. Or you can even input a prompt like, create a opening direct message for me to send to Timbaland. I love how we're just on this Timbaland like thing. Is this a sign? Should I message him after this pod?
I think we should. I think you should. I mean, why not?
You can even ask like, what's an opening DM that I can send to this person that includes this, and this? Like, utilize all of these tools because it will literally just give it to you, and then customize it and make it your own so it doesn't sound AI, but utilize all the tools.
For sure. And a tip that that Eve Batoba gave me was if they say like, if whatever they're posting, if they're like, hey, if you want something, comment small in the comments and it'll send you, and I'll DM you a thing that unlocks people's DMs. Then once you get it, now you're out of the little, request hole. You're in the actual DMs. Send something poignant because then they might actually see it.
I use ManyChat for mine, which if people are looking for that tool, ManyChat's been really great. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. That's what I use to send people the link for the worship night. It's just way easier.
Oh yeah. It's so much, but then people, it's unlocked in your DMs. People now.
Period.
Yeah. And now if they were like, hey, I want to reach out to Michelle and be like, ask questions. Now, if they've done that, boom, you'll see it now.
Yeah.
You obviously might ignore it if it's something weird, but.
I'm screaming. First of all, for the record, I am the person that does check, like, I check DMs and requests. Yeah. I just am so bad at like, I'll like look at something and then be like, I'm going to reply to that in a second. I forget. I'm like, oh, a bird. Like,
of course. I did it. You did it to me the other day. You're like, oh my God, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, oh no, it's all good.
That's why I told you. I said, just bother me because I literally will forget.
All good. I was like, I have her number. I was like, I'll just text her.
Anyways, back to creativity.
Yes, back to creativity, and not back to us being bad at messaging. I just on a random Chat GPT thing. I've recently started asking it to do the mindless things that I just don't care about doing.
Yes.
Like, hey, like, because we were talking about juicing earlier before we started. hey, these are all the items I have in my house. What juice can I make? And then
Yeah.
I need enough to make like 4 jars of juice.
Yeah.
How? Mindless, easy. And then if I'm missing something, tell me which store. I go to Aldi, HEB,
Yeah.
Costco.
Yeah.
Tell me where to go.
I love
how much to get. It's
That's
so
so
simple.
dope.
I also heard that you can actually do it with clothing too.
What do you mean?
Like you can you can take time and go, hey, I have a shirt. I have a red and white Lacoste shirt. I have a like blue jeans, and just go through your whole closet and tell like, I have this from Zara, this from H&M. And you just list out, and then you say, I'm going on a trip for 7 days. Mm-hmm. I need 3 business outfits. I need 2 like casual outfits, and I need something to travel in on the day that I leave and on the day that I come back. And it will literally write out everything that matches. And you're like, okay, cool. Now tell me about my shoes. What shoes will go with? Yeah. Right.
That's smart.
So now it takes the mindlessness out of just like you saying, okay, cool. Cause you travel a lot and you're like, well, what do I take? Like, I just wore this the other day. Like, I don't want to keep repeating. So what do I wear?
That's so smart. I love that. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah. I really want to try it too. I heard someone say it. I heard Tim Ross say it, and I was like, oh,
period.
Okay.
Shout out Tim Ross. Thank you.
Shout out Tim. I was like, cool. Cause honestly, before he said it, I just didn't ever use ChatGPT because I thought that I don't like AI personally. I find it to be weird and intrusive. Now I use it all the time.
Now here we are.
Now here we are. Let's wrap this thing up because I know we both have things to do. And I appreciate your gratefulness in doing this and just pouring in.
Of course.
Well, I have one more question before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
I've been asking people this because to me, I think this is like a really deep question. It doesn't sound deep, but it is. Mm-hmm. What is your dream? Like if God himself came down and was like, you were sleeping and he just tapped you on the shoulder, was like, Michelle, my daughter, I love you. I want to make your dream come true. What would be the thing that you're like, oh, okay, Lord, this is my dream. You already know it, Lord, but let me audibly tell it to you so you hear it. What is your dream?
Yeah, I think I dream of the day that I will get to be a full-time creative. I love business consulting, don't get me wrong. I think that this season, what that's for is just to help me sharpen a gift and teach me. But ultimately, my dream is to be a full-time creative. And there's a lot of vehicles within that. It's more than just singer Michelle. It's podcaster Michelle, right? It's teacher Michelle. It's the artist, the singer, the songwriter. It's all of those things. I think social media influencer Michelle. So it's being, I think full-time able to be just a creative that's working within my passions. Because ultimately, like my dream would be I like connecting people to God through those vehicles, but also just like helping people, making them feel less broken. And actually not just feel less broken. That's not the right word. It's be less broken. Like I love being able to make a lasting impact on people, where their lives are different, better, more whole. Maybe they're something about their life's more efficient, whatever, that there's something because of something I did and was able to help you with that you're walking away like even better than you were before. Yeah. So I think that would be the goal. Just being able to be full-time creative, not have 3 full-time
jobs. Not have to worry about going to work. You just wake up, do what you want, and then you just are yourself. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, those are goals. Like do you have an idea of how you get there?
I think that that's what this year is helping build. I had someone text me and say this. I was so sick at the top of the year that I was sick for like 3 weeks that I couldn't start my 2025 like running like I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't really even feel like I had strong strategy or vision for the year. And I remember getting a text towards the end of January, top of February, from somebody that when they text you something like specific, you're like, okay, like, there's a reason you text me that. And they had said, you need to write your vision for not just your ministry, but like your music and all the things in the next 7 days. And I was like, okay, I'm on it. But I really felt like I felt such divine inspiration over those next 7 days. Like I was just getting what feels like downloads of like, okay, we're doing this, this, and this. And it just all kind of came together. And so I think what we have written down from that for this year is going to be one of the biggest stepping stones for really expediting getting into that space. I think people coming to an actual event, like hosting these events, and then also, like you said earlier, I mean, I don't want to promise people, but giving you guys giving you guys the music and all of the things. I think it'll get us there. So just doing my part and walking that out. I think this year will be really transformative for that.
I know it to be so. I know it will be. Yeah. Because you are determined.
I'm determined, but not just that. I'm like inspired, and I love being in that. Creatives know, you're creative. Creatives know, like when you're in that space and you just feel like, I feel inspired, and we know the feelings don't always happen. So when they do happen, you're like, oh, I want to ride this wave as long as I can because it feels so good just to wake up and feel like excited and motivated and feel like things are moving. And so I'm really, really grateful for every second that I'm feeling like this, and going to keep doing as much as I can to perpetuate these moments for sure.
I love it. I know that you're going to kill it this year. Like your worship night on April 11th is going to be amazing. I can't wait for it. And I know that whatever else happens for the remaining part of this year, absolutely going to be amazing. It's going to be the best, most transformative year of your life.
Thank you. I received that.
So I don't know why this is why I should not drink green juice before doing podcasts. Got my voice all flimmy. If the people want to follow you and support your journey, or because since this will come out before the 11th, get tickets to your worship night, since you're going to be releasing more, how do they do that?
Yeah. So the easiest way to connect with me is on like any social platforms. So on Instagram, it's just instagram.com/Michelle Benedek. I don't know if you'll have it up on the screen. So it's
it will be. I'll put it up there.
Benedek. It's no longer last name. And TikTok is the same thing. I'm just Michelle Benedek on there. But in my Instagram bio, there's a link that I have that has all of the things in it. The tickets are at the very top. So once you release more, they'll be there for people. And of course, I just love connecting with people. I feel like I'm most active on Instagram, and then secondly, TikTok, but I love connecting with people and just, getting to know everyone. So I'd love to connect with you all there.
Boom. I love it. I love you. I love this. This was amazing.
Man, love you, bro. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we got to do this. Okay, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate you. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye. Peace.
Bye, guys.